All right, welcome back to another episode of Let's Get Weird Together. We talk about all the weird things and how beautiful it is to be weird. Today's guest is Christina Powell. She's a very magical lady. Say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, and it was so magical how we even met because we were both going to not go to a fair and then ended up going to the fair and ended up being next to each other.
Yes, that was wild
It was
because
so.
I was really like towards the end, it was really like I think a 2 week out kind of decision. Um,
Mhm.
and I was just battling, going back and forth, and it was far away, and wasn't quite sure what the weather was going to be, and I knew I would be out there most of the day by myself, and I thought, well, I did know. I did have a student and a really, really good friend who was also going to be there, but she was doing healing.
Mhm.
And I was a vendor at this event. But yeah, it was wild. It was like you had just set up, you
Mhm.
were already there, and then, my husband and I pulled in with the truck, and they were like, "You're right there." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yup. And I only found that fair. It was so random. I'm in San Diego and I'm like, wasn't feeling great. I'm like just hanging out at my friend's house. I'm like, I should like do a fair. And I opened up Facebook and there was the ad for it.
Wow,
It was
yeah.
so wild. So
Definitely a divine timing type thing, I feel,
it
for sure.
really was. And it's really cool when yeah, divine timing works like that. Like things just happen because I was like, I don't think I want to go to this thing, but I heard this voice saying like, no, no, you should go. It'll be fine. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I heard that same voice, I think.
Yup, let's do
Just
it.
go, won't hurt.
And that's the most greeting cards I've ever sold, even though I was there to do readings. I had brought my greeting cards for shits and giggles.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm like, that's wild too.
I did pretty well at that one. I think to date that was probably the one I did the best at
Hmm.
to that up to that point. So yeah, yeah,
That's pretty cool.
really was.
Awesome. So, what are the things that you like making the most? Because it seems like you put a lot of energy into your craft.
Um, really, I think my niche is candles.
Hmm.
Um, I love making candles. Never used to be that way. I mean, there's a lot of product loss in candles. There's lots of trial and error when it comes to candle making. Different types of wax and different wicks, and you got to wick up and you got to wick down, and it's a lot. It's like conducting a science, an ongoing science experiment.
Hmm.
Um, and even like the humidity and the moisture and everything has to be, and the temperature too, because if it's too cold, my poor husband, he puts up with so much because I'll be getting ready for like a vendor event. Although now I have like a little shop in the lower
Hmm.
level of my house where I do my healing and my Reiki attunements. But if it's chilly out, we have this monstrosity of a garage. That was a huge selling point for the house for him. My selling point was my kitchen, obviously, and just energetically there was something there. And he'll come in and out. We have sliding glass doors. And when he comes
Hmm.
in, it's right there at the kitchen. So I'll be over there, pouring my candles, and my candles are setting up. And I'm like, shut that door. It's going to be too cold. They're not going to set right, you know? So yeah. But yeah, my candles. And then everything I make is infused with Reiki.
Hmm.
I feel it's really important. We could all use as much healing as we can possibly get. It doesn't hurt if the individual, if their spirit isn't down with the Reiki, it'll just go somewhere else where it's needed the most.
Hmm.
So, I do. I put a lot of intention, I put a lot of love, and I put a lot of healing energy into my products, but specifically my candles. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Awesome. And then do for you, because I know in some traditions, the different colors of candles have different meanings. Do you follow that too when you're making
Um,
them?
yeah, I do. I
Okay.
do. So I just started not too long ago doing intention candles and ritual candles.
Nice.
So pink for love, obviously. So I have
Hmm.
pink candles. I have green for abundance and prosperity, orange for business success, um, black for protection, gray for balance, purple for spirituality. But I also like to have my candles be really visually appealing. So,
Hmm.
for example, with my Spirit Shield candle, which is just like an overall protection candle, I put crystals in my candles as well.
Hmm.
And I always usually put some kind of little charm or something, some kind of symbolism as
Yeah.
well. Um, but for my protection candle, I have like the little, I can never remember what they're called, the little evil eye beads.
Yeah.
And then I have black tourmaline and clear quartz. And my love candles, I have like rose quartz and aura quartz. And
Hmm.
so everything is kind of centered around intention and alignment. Um, and with my Hecate candle, I really love those because those are really pretty and they have a little key. So there's
Yeah.
always a little keepsake of some sort once the candle's burnt that you can keep. Plus, there's the little crystals in there too.
And so, how did you discover Hecate?
It was honestly, and it's so funny how the deities have evolved
Hmm.
since I started in my spiritual or my
Hmm.
pagan witchy woo woo path. Um, Lilith came in first,
Oh.
and I was really at a crossroads in my life when Lilith came in. Um, and I was pretty again I healing journey wise, definitely at a crossroads. Definitely at a crossroads with where my life path was going to go at that time.
Hmm.
So Lilith came in first. And then I just really started hearing Hecate's name. And I'm like, I know that she's, the goddess of witchcraft, and I really never were, but I just had this drive to research and find out as much as I possibly could about her. And then I started getting into keys. And it was wild because uh I had a reading done, like a little mini reading done at a local crystal shop. And the reader slid me a key and said, "Keep that, you're going to need it." And I still have that key and I wear it on a necklace from time to time. But it was just, she just started to call to me, I guess. And when I really feel drawn to different deities, I know that that's my sign that I need to
Hmm.
work with them.
Okay.
So, mm.
Is there a particular deity that really caught you off guard, or when they come in, you're just like, okay, I get it?
Well, now I don't question anything,
Right.
but I would have to say probably it was definitely, I think, Lilith
Hmm.
that caught me off guard, because there's so much negative, I guess, stigma around her, right? And again, once I start feeling drawn to work with these deities, that's when all the major
Hmm.
research comes in for me.
Hmm.
And it was just, Lilith is an energy,
Hmm.
she's a deity. Unfortunately, she was demonized because she wouldn't submit. And um, I really started, and I'm not a snake person either,
Hmm.
but I really started digging snakes for
Okay.
some reason. I'm like, okay, as long as they're a representation of a snake, like not a real snake,
Yeah.
because they just give me the heebie-jeebies, and
Mhm.
quite frankly, I'm just not fast enough to do anything if a snake was around. But yeah, I really started to like snakes. I really started
Mhm.
being drawn to like garnet,
Mhm.
which is my, well, ruby, I guess, or garnet is my birthstone, but I've always been an amethyst girl. But I was really starting to get drawn to like garnet and
Mhm.
snakes. and owls even for some reason. And I don't know if they were associated with Lilith, but they were associated with her at the time for me personally.
Hmm. And also, owls aren't actually good in every single modality or every single philosophy.
Right.
There's someone I
Right.
work with who's like, no, 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 never, never do owl medicine. It's evil. And I'm like, that's fascinating, 'cause that's not the
Yeah.
perspective I was ever raised with.
No.
But there have been a lot of smear campaigns against female deities over the years. It seems like every time that we won't submit,
Hmm. Yeah. That seems to
yeah,
be a general theme.
right? It
I don't like
really
that.
does. We were talking earlier before we come on about like witchcraft too, and how like
Mhm.
that is something that is a natural process that got demonized.
Yeah, it's just it's manifestation. It's about
Hmm.
claiming your power. You're just
Yeah.
using symbols and colors to put out what you need and what you want into the universe. It's,
Hmm.
we kind of got slapped with a label,
Hmm.
and then there was negative associations, doubled with that. And
Hmm.
then it's like, okay, here we are. And people really do fear, what they don't understand. And then there's a lot of people who have their own views, other witches or, other people who have their own views on certain things. What is a hex? What isn't a hex?
Yeah.
Right? What's dark magic versus chaos magic versus just returning some energy to somebody that doesn't belong to you?
So, in your opinion, what is witchcraft? What all does it entail?
So I do have a little workshop called Witchy Ways, and
Hmm.
it is it's a beginner's workshop because I remember when I was called to that path, I didn't know where to start. I had to
Yeah.
figure it all out on my own. So just doing research, buying books, reading a lot, trial and error, what worked, what didn't, what did I change around?
Mhm.
Um, so when I teach that class, I let them know that this is just standing in your power. This is
Mhm.
discovering your power and standing in it.
Do
Because I
you?
feel that a lot of people are like, well, this helps me feel like I have some semblance of, I don't want to say control, but direction, what
Mhm.
direction my life goes in.
So you don't have to follow Hecate to do witchcraft.
No,
Okay.
no, no. In fact, when I first started out, I was really drawn to Freya,
Okay.
Freya and Odin.
Hmm.
Odin's still there. He's never left. He and Thor have been the only two, I would have to say, like gods that have really stepped in and stuck with me. No one else has presented yet.
Really? I've have quite a few, but Odin was one of the first ones too. Like, well, and Ganesh, first Ganesh and then Odin and then
Yeah,
Horus. And I'm like, wow, that's just a yeah, interesting selection.
yeah.
So for those people who aren't pagan, who still want to step into their power, is it possible to practice witchcraft and still be a good Christian?
I mean, there are Christian witches.
Hmm.
I can definitely help them out, but
Hmm.
well, I really think that there's just been a lot of separation that's
Hmm.
been created when it comes to, well, if you claim to be this, you have to fall in this bucket, and if you claim to be that, you have to fall into this category.
Hmm.
And honestly, a lot of people would be surprised to know that I have a very close, relationship, I feel, with Jesus.
Hmm.
Jesus is a healer. He's a master healer. He's an ascended master.
Hmm.
And I'm here in my lower level teaching witchcraft, but I also have a Jesus candle on my healing altar. So, it really, I feel if we could just drop the categories and just go
Hmm.
with what's in your heart and what you feel is right and what you feel drawn to,
Hmm.
you know. But I do know I've read and I've actually met a few, I guess they identified as Christian witches. So, um, for me, that would be a hard concept for me personally.
Mhm.
Just because you know, it's been so separated in my own experience throughout my
Mhm.
life that it would just be, um, well, then I don't know though, because I was raised Catholic. So there we go.
Well, but Catholics are pretty witchy with the number of superstitions
That's
we
what I'm
have, and like
saying.
how like I was raised that way too. Like our obsession with rituals and the Advent candles. Like out of all the, because like I know
Oh,
the Protestants stripped away a lot of the Catholic habits, right? And
oh,
like when Catholicism came to power, they're like, oh, we're gonna take all these pagan things and just like fold them into our religion.
yeah. But I mean, they've got the altar, right? They've got the
Hmm.
magic, the transubstantiation, right?
Yep.
When the body and blood of Christ, they hold that cup up and say that little prayer. I mean, I converted to Catholicism and studied the
Hmm.
Bible quite a bit. But yeah, it just felt like home to me because, every season there was a changing of colors,
Hmm. Yep.
right? The priest would wear different colors. I think Easter
Yep.
was like purple or something, and then they would
Yeah.
have different flowers and
Mhm.
different candle colors, and it's just like, wow, it's kind of pretty much the same stuff if you think about Catholicism and
Mhm.
ritual witchcraft.
And what they've actually found, I forget, oh man, now I forget which people it was. Throughout history, a lot of times it was easier just to fold the local traditions in than to try to convince people to have new ones. Until we get to the Catholics, and they're like, no, you have to adopt ours because they forgot how they were founded and they
Mhm.
stopped folding in all the new things.
Yeah,
And then they're like, oh, by the way, you native women healers, we're going to call you witches and shame you and make up devil stuff. That's not true.
yeah, yeah.
Because the word didn't even exist till I think it was the 1400s, I believe.
Right.
It's kind of
So,
wild.
and that's another thing too.
Yeah.
People they
Mhm.
associated this term
Mhm.
with, but to me, a witch just means a keeper of ancient knowledge, a
Mhm.
healer, probably somebody who's really heavy into herbs and candles and colors and probably a bit psychic. I mean, most of
Mhm.
the witches I know definitely have spiritual abilities. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just a word that they
Mhm.
kind of ran with down a negative path. So, and
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, Hollywood doesn't help having the Wicked Witch of the West and having like that constant vilification.
Yeah,
Because there's some people I know, because I've been talking to a lot of people around this fair. Some people are like, oh, don't use that word for me. And I'm like,
mhm,
cool, I won't. And other people are like wearing it as a t-shirt. I remember my grandma, she was really, really, really magical, but very, very, very Catholic. Like
mhm,
she would pray people out of purgatory as a hobby, because that's a thing. And she's also one of my spirit guides now. So every time I talked about being a witch, she would tisk in my ear until it was okay for her to feel like, okay, my granddaughter's a witch.
yeah, and the very so again back to that the workshop that I do,
Yeah.
I tell them, being calling yourself a witch is not to be entered into lightly.
Hmm.
Here's why. I mean,
Okay.
anything that went wrong in the village, oh, you know, women
Hmm.
and witches and women,
Yeah.
they had to place the blame somewhere. Sometimes it was all about possessing their possessions, their land, their property,
Hmm.
especially if a woman's husband passed away and she didn't want to remarry.
Yeah.
She was known as the healer, the witch, the shaman, right? Well,
Hmm.
they did it quick and dirty. Let's just burn her and take her stuff anyway,
Hmm.
you know. So a lot of and I'll have to look up the person because I can't remember who it was, but they actually celebrate a woman who went
Hmm.
through that. There's like a little festival celebration type
Hmm.
thing around where they tried to drown this witch. And she survived, but they wanted to take her property, and that's why
Wow.
they did it. So, man, I wish I would have thought about that before the
That's okay if you think
before
about
the
it.
podcast, because I would have looked it up and. But yeah,
Okay.
It was a theme. It was a thing. Definitely.
Hmm. Well, if you think of it later and find a link, we can drop it in the show notes for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
So I don't know if you've run into people who tend to be gatekeepers with magic. Like in order to be a witch, you have to do X, Y, and Z. I talked to someone recently who all she had to say was how everyone else was doing magic wrong.
mhm.
So I guess in what ways can you do magic wrong?
Well, I mean,
Or if you want to comment on gatekeeping, any experience you've had with that.
yeah, I think I can certainly comment on that because I have experienced that. And um, what I tell people when they come to me for advice or wanting me to share my knowledge about the craft
Mhm.
is there is no right or wrong. Okay, because witchcraft isn't necessarily Wiccan, right?
Mhm.
There's a big misnomer or misconception that we that everybody follows the rule of three, right?
Mhm.
But there is karma.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't, can you do witchcraft wrong? Really just depends on what it is you're using your craft for.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I was always told don't summon something you can't banish, right?
Right.
Do unto others as you would have others do unto you, right? So I don't necessarily go out there throwing curses or hexes on people, but I will protect myself.
Mhm.
And I've had people tell me, well, oh, well, return to that's chaos magic or that's dark magic.
Mhm.
It's a return to sender. It's I'm gathering this person's energy that they've been sending
Mhm.
to me in a package and saying, here, you can take this back because that can cause issues energetically,
Yeah.
you know? If
Mhm.
you're not energetically taking care of yourself, or if you got a lot of people who, I guess, throwing shade at you or whatever, it can intervene.
Mhm.
You know, I used to get sick all the time. It was like I got a constant sinus infection,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
then I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I've done a return to sender. And then I did that, and I had like maybe a year where I didn't get sick. And then after only one round of antibiotics, my sinus infection cleared up. Because I don't know what it is in this lifetime. It's got to be like my third eye, but my sinuses are just like, I'm so allergic to this planet, I swear. Um, Always with the sinus issues. But yeah, I don't think that I personally don't tell
Mhm.
anybody that their craft is right or wrong. You
Mhm.
know, it's in the heart of the witch, is how I feel.
Yeah.
Um, but it is what it is. Just be what, you know, just know the karma's out there.
Yep.
That's the way
Got that.
I put it. There's no rules except don't piss off the fairies. That's my one rule.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good rule because
Yeah,
like
that's the one rule I live by in witchcraft. Just don't piss off the fairies.
they play by their own rules. Like we can't even fathom as humans. Like
Right?
I mean, that's where all the trickster myths came from. Is from fairy energy. They
Hmm.
are the original tricksters. You have got to be very careful what you say.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I love that do what you want to, but realize there's consequences for your actions.
Right. You're the
Yeah.
one that's going to you know, pay that toll. So, you know, right or wrong, I'm not going to call anything right or wrong. It's what you're using it for and just be prepared to deal with
Mhm.
consequences.
Yeah, there's choices, and I like, well, also from my theta healing perspective, I understand why people make the choices they do sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a need, like if you're called to do certain kinds of magic, then there's some need inside of you that's going to be fulfilled, and you're going to feel better afterwards, even if it may not be the highest and best way to achieve that goal.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely I've encountered those. Well, you know, you got to call in,
Hmm.
you know, you know, it, and it just cracks me up. I always get tongue tied around this because I do a very simple invocation when I'm calling, beginning a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people that are very like, it's a thing, and that's
Hmm.
great, but I need simple magic. I need quick, simple. There's got to be a need, and I've got to
Hmm.
be able, because I'm a busy woman,
Hmm.
right? I'm not to say that they're, I just keep thinking about like the craft when they're on that beach,
Yeah.
right? And that's great. That just, for me personally, because
Hmm.
I practice alone for the most part.
Hmm.
I've been in covens, I have been a high priestess, but I just relocated and I do the majority of the magic on my own.
Hmm. So I'm.
So for me, it's just energetic circle, right? I have all my stones and all my stuff that I need, and I call in
Mhm.
my deities and the spirit energies, and wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Lit the candle, and we're done.
So what's coming through right now, because also like I have lots of friends in different covens all over the US, right? So
Yeah,
I get to see how different people work and why they work that way. But with my one friend, her and I always end up just making up the ritual all the time, right?
yeah.
And so what's coming through right now is like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's two different ways to there's maybe more, but like there's right now I'm feeling two different ways. Like either you're an intuitive where you
Mhm.
understand what you want to do and you create the ritual, or your nervous system gets centered by doing the preset ritual. Because some people are very much about it's A plus B plus C plus
Mhm.
D.
Mhm.
And I'm not against that. I'm just a very intuitive person, right? So I will participate in those when someone is leading them, but I also see how beautiful that is for the people that need it that clear
Yeah.
versus you
Well,
and I who are just like in the flow of magic.
right. Well,
Yeah.
and I always wasn't that way. When I first
Hmm.
started out, obviously I was nervous, again, you see all the negative stuff on, TV, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh, am I going to be haunted, and it's really like you almost kind of
Hmm.
have to really step out of your comfort zone in order to do your first ritual. But
Absolutely.
when I first started,
Hmm.
I was that, okay, because I didn't want to mess anything up. I didn't want to accidentally call something in, because I was
Hmm.
paranoid, right?
Hmm.
Um, but it's evolved for me. And I think it all, for most people, it usually evolves.
Hmm.
And now it's just like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Let's sprinkle some of that herb in there. And oh yeah, salt circle this time, no biggie. So, and it's always changing.
Hmm.
But I think a lot of us, because I think that happens because we've been taught not to trust our intuition.
Hmm.
A lot of
Yeah.
people kind of just um, are like, no, I got to have it. I've got to have it written down, and I need to do these steps. And, if I do that, then it'll be successful. And,
Hmm.
you know, it is what it is because I was
Yeah.
there.
And there's also in some people, before you trust yourself, there is like, I need to be, not that I need the recipe. I need to know the secret recipe to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like give me all the step by step by step.
Hmm. Hmm.
And on that, there's a really funny thing. So I'm training to with this shaman to lead posture trance, which is really fun. I'll
Oh,
meet her at some point. Yeah, she's great. I did notice something, right? Because we set up an altar for it because we work with different deities each month and we like take on the posture and we have an experience with them. But when she opens the circle, sometimes the meanings and the colors for the directions change.
hmm,
And I'm like, why is that? She's like, oh, you'll just feel it. So there's like not a pattern to it. And my Virgo brain went, cool, I can adjust. But it was really funny too, that like and that's another thing about like why I don't believe in gatekeeping around magic is because it also depends on what tradition you're coming from.
exactly. That's what I was just going to comment because
Yeah.
um, the the different colors and stuff are definitely based on the different oh, menopause is great. Sorry.
Hmm.
It just I knew exactly what I was gonna say, and then there it goes. It's just gone. Poof, out of the air. Different traditions,
Hmm.
like you stated, would have different colors for things, um, and even different deities. There's different ways
Hmm.
that they prefer to be called in, or they prefer different colors or scents or whatever. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, and culture, and also too, like the meanings of colors varies from culture to culture too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like the big one being like the color white is death in some cultures, purity in others. It's like it really, really varies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've encountered that
Mhm.
myself. As far as like even different astrological candles have different colors, sometimes depending on what tradition that you're coming from.
Mhm.
So we kind of touch on that in class too. Like you basically get a list of colors, what they're, what metaphysical
Mhm.
properties they have, and then what planet is associated with them, and then also like their day.
Mhm.
So it's a neat
Yeah.
little list to put together. But yeah, it's just wild because I myself am surrounded by I have a great neighborhood and I love the
Mhm.
area. It's very quiet, but I am surrounded by people who follow a different path.
Mhm.
And I just now kind of put up your it's a little garden flag that says your friendly neighborhood witch's house,
Mhm.
like if you didn't know before and you don't follow me on social media, now you know. But
I know that's like I do not follow the same path as most of my neighborhood either.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm. But I did put a little witch's hat on my giant spider in my tree.
Oh, that's cool.
I need a new spider. So here's a random thing that's coming up.
Hmm.
So I love teaching tarot, but for some reason, I love reading tarot. The sun and the moon don't sit right with me because they're classically defined as masculine and feminine, the sun being masculine, the moon being feminine.
Hmm.
And then I was finally reading that, like in Nordic traditions or in Asteru, they're flippity flopped.
Yeah.
And the moon is masculine, sun is feminine, and my soul went, that feels so much better.
Hmm.
So where do you stand on that?
Wow. I definitely, I would have to say historically, my brain wants to go the moon being feminine,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that has to deal with water and emotions, and those are kind of more the feminine type, um,
Mm-hmm.
I would say qualities. But then, of course, there's reference to the man on the moon,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think I think you stumped me there. I don't know where I stand on that really.
Okay.
Um, because honestly, I've heard of that, but then you
Hmm.
mentioning it again, I'm like, oh wow, that's right.
And I guess maybe why it's important for me to have to hold that right now is because when we look at the manosphere and toxic, like the way things are going and the mentality of this country,
Hmm.
that saying that the moon, that having feelings is
Hmm.
only a women's thing, it's like kind of offensive to me. Because we're actually like, well, why shouldn't they be emotional beings who get to express all these things?
Right. And
Because it hurt. Yeah,
there's a lot to be said about that with society in general right now.
yeah.
Women are always the emotional ones,
Hmm.
right? And men aren't. It's not acceptable for men to show any kind of emotion. And
Hmm.
what that does, not only to us as a society, but also to like the masculine energy.
Hmm.
Everything gets locked up inside if you don't express stuff, and society's telling you, well, this is what it means to be a man,
Hmm.
and this is what it means to be a woman. And, like women shouldn't express anger, right? I mean,
Right.
who likes an angry woman?
I
you
I
know.
laugh because I have a whole chapter in my book about that. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
and men aren't allowed to express like grief or sadness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they have to be the ones that have it together because there's us, emotional women over here,
Yeah.
right? That just need somebody to hold it down for them.
But let's be honest, why are we being so emotional?
Right.
Because we have to put up with them being in their in the unhealed masculine and the toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
Like if they could just relax and be themselves, we wouldn't be so stressed out.
right. And that would be considered, okay, now I'm kind of that would be history level.
Yes, yeah. So collective consciousness, yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yep. So, yeah, it's just and that's something I bring up in Reiki too when I'm doing
Mhm.
Reiki level one, about the stuck emotions
Mhm.
and how there needs to be, everything's about balance,
Mhm.
masculine, feminine, light, dark, all of that.
Yeah,
And to not like, express your emotions, even though one of the five principles of Reiki is just for today, I will not anger. But it's not about being void or not
right.
expressing your anger. It's about not staying in your anger. It's about feeling it,
Mhm.
releasing it, recognizing why you're angry and letting it
Mhm.
go. But again, it gets misconstrued into, oh, I have to be love and light only. I can't, and that's not the case.
Oh, because if you keep swallowing your anger, you're literally going to manifest all sorts of stomach problems.
Or liver issues.
Or TMJ.
Yeah.
All sorts of things come from holding in your anger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So besides making the most magical candles ever, what other services do you provide for people?
I do a lot of workshops. I'm very nerdy about the woo-woo, and metaphysics and herbal. I've also signed up recently to do some Ayurvedic discoveries,
Hmm.
which is interesting. That has to do with doshas and elements in the body and um, diet. Because I definitely feel like society is really starting to go back to the original ways of healing, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes the pharmaceuticals aren't working. Um, it- they could be compiling the problem. Well, little did you know that there's this tea that you can drink,
Hmm.
right? With the most natural ingredients that can do the same thing
Yep.
and not toxic to the body. So, really into that. But I do hold, I have a mini healing retreat coming up, which I love to do. I'm a yoga teacher in training.
Hmm.
So I love having, I usually do them around the equinoxes, but I do like a 20-minute beginner's very slow flow
Hmm.
yoga, and then a guided meditation and breath work. And then I
Hmm.
do a sound healing bath. Um, and I really think that that's a great way to meet other like-minded people.
Yeah.
Right. If you're on the journey and you're not quite sure, where to start or where to go to find like-minded people, that's why I have like these workshops and these mini healing retreats, because I think that's really important. We all need to have that support system. We all need to feel like there's some kind of community, um,
Hmm.
that we have around us, and other like-minded souls, because it can be lonely, um, certain
Hmm.
paths can be. So, um, but yeah, I'm on Facebook. I do have a
Hmm.
lot of events. I've had a lot of past events. Um, and yeah, I just have my little weird shop down here from time to
Hmm.
time. I mean, it's always open because I'm always here. I do
Yeah.
still have a muggle job that I work during the day. So I do have a 9 to 5:30.
Hmm.
But I'm usually home in the evening. So even if I don't have like an official shop open, if you're out and about and you're like,
Hmm.
oh, I wonder what Boundless Moon has in that weird little kooky shop of hers,
Yeah.
send me a direct message or just text me and
Hmm.
I'll be like, all right, I'm home. I'm locking the door. Come look. Um, but just really I'm about community and
Hmm.
learning and trying to help people on their path too, with just experience and
Hmm.
been there, done that. Let me help you get there.
And I love it that that a community is so important because I think that's the part of the glue of what's coming together for this fair is like the people that are wanting to join recognize the importance of community. And I've been getting the message about community for a few years from Creator about like building all the communities, and that's actually how we're going to get through the next few years in the US is like what is the local community that you have?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes we need to lean on
Yeah.
each other. We just need to
Mm.
be around those like-minded spirits, those like-minded souls, you know, other people who are good energetically, right? Not
Well,
someone you necessarily have to sage yourself after you've been around.
mhm.
I mean, it's
But
all about energy right now.
and also the opportunities and how much easier life gets when you're in a community, you can just ask for help, as
Yes.
opposed to being the solo practitioner who's always by themselves, so has to pay people for everything. But when you're just
Mhm.
like, because I had a big aha moment in this last year of being part of a community that I didn't automatically want to be in charge of.
Cool.
Because some of us, if you grow up hyper dependent, if you're in a group, if you don't trust the leader, you will need to be the leader.
Hmm.
And so there is something really powerful if you have those things to join a community and not want to change it.
Yeah.
Because some powerful healers, we have very strong opinions sometimes,
Hmm.
but it takes a lot to be able to be part of a group and feel safe.
Yeah.
It also has to be the
Absolutely.
right group, I must say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I can tell you that things started to change for me
Mm-hmm.
when I stopped asking for people to come into my life and started asking for the right people,
Oh
to
yeah.
meet the right people, to have the
Mm-hmm.
right people come to the workshops, to have the right people come to the
Mm-hmm.
healing retreats, or have the right students come in,
Yep.
right? Because I also teach and attune people to Reiki up to Grandmaster level. So it was like it really just changed big
Mm-hmm.
time when I changed that one little word or threw that one little word in there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, 1,000%. Because you notice I have cozy theta healing classes because it's a vibration, right?
yeah,
I know I know people who have 50-person classes, but I'm like, is that what I really want when I'm creating community?
right. I keep my classes very, very small as well. I don't like three people is like tops for me.
Hmm.
Um, because I feel, when you're learning about healing, I feel uh, it's sacred, you
It
know,
is.
and I feel like there's something to be said about a smaller, intimate group. People
Hmm.
will feel more relaxed and more willing to ask questions, or
Hmm.
maybe come out of their shells a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but but yeah, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for this fair you have coming up.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I'm loving who's been responding. Like I'm in conversations about having a really fancy like tea party with little cakes as part of the experience.
Really?
So we shall see. So what I've been manifesting is like the other day I'm like it'd be really fun if we actually can curate aside from the classes, little
Mhm.
drop-in experiences all over.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Well, if you need any help with the tea thing, I just bought, and I don't know why I bought it. I just bought a silver tea set,
Well, I
an
also
antique
have,
one. So if you needed it for a table or something, just let me
okay,
know.
maybe for decoration, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Because I also just have three links of people who might be able to do like a Japanese tea ceremony.
Oh,
So you can
nice.
have like the fancy British style picnic and then so feeling the
Yeah.
vibrations of different energies. Because the theme is pollination, so we'll see what else. Flower crowns are secured. We're all gonna make flower crowns.
I love that too. I'm a sucker
Hmm.
for crafts.
Yep.
Well, I'm very
Yeah.
excited to be a vendor there.
Bringing your beautiful
So hopefully
beauty.
people can come over and,
Yeah.
you know, check out my Reiki infused items and my ritual items. Yes, I do make witchy items. I make hot foot powder and
Mm-hmm.
protection salt and hex breaker baths and all that good stuff. But I also have Reiki infused skincare too. So, but
Cool.
everything's crystal. That's the
Mhm.
exciting thing about my skincare stuff
Yeah.
is I put crystalline energy in everything.
Nice.
So, really excited about that too. But
So the people who can't make it to the fair or that want to check you out beforehand, where do they go?
I do have a website, it's boundlessmoon.com. It's outdated. It's currently under construction, so that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have all of my up-to-date services and things that I offer. But I am on social media at Boundless Moon on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, it is at Boundless614.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, not as strong of a presence. I'm trying to change that up a little bit though. I'm Boundless Mystic
Mm-hmm.
777 on TikTok. So definitely social media right now. If
Mm-hmm.
you're wanting to know what kind of services I offer, what kind of events we have coming up. I do have a introduction to the Fae workshop coming up at the beginning of March. So really excited about that one.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of February, I have a chakra foundations class.
Mm-hmm.
So deep dive into the chakra energy system for healing and just knowledge. So excited about that as well.
Wonderful. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
having me. And it's just been a blessing to have met you and know you and just learn from you. And, nothing but good things. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you very much. This lady is super magical, really, really magical. She knows her stuff. So
Thank you. I nerd out pretty hard on the theta and other
I
stuff. Yeah.
love theta too. I'm getting there. I'm like, when's your next class? What can I do now?
They're coming along. Yeah, the class reflection that we're doing today, like these are people that have been with me from one of them for almost 10 years and the other people for like 5 years. So
Ooh,
it's such a, it can be a very leisurely journey. So
I like it.
yeah. All right.
Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. And thank you to all the listeners. Remember to keep finding out, going back to all the previous issues, keep digging through and picking out all of your favorite episodes, telling all your friends, liking, subscribing, yada, yada. And we'll see you later.